All right, welcome officially to Nairobi Book Love, the podcast. And as always, we have a spectacular guest. I don't think we've ever had a non-spectacular guest. Yeah. But today is a super spectacular because she is a continental powerhouse, has published 5 novels, 3 works of nonfiction, 4 children's books, and has won awards up and down the continent. She is amazing, a publisher and a literary festival curator as well, correct?
Yes, I try. How are you?
Oh, she doesn't just try, she does. Welcome officially to Nairobi Book Love, Zukiswa, Wanner. Woo-hoo! And the crowd goes wild. Yeah, the crowd here, they've absolutely gone wild. Welcome.
Thank you so very much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. The last time we were in conversation was at Nairobi Book Festival. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about your latest novel, which is, of course, Love, Marry, Kill. It was a Kenyan launch of the book. And I think it was a fantastic conversation. We're like, we need to record this conversation to be a podcast.
Yeah, you are absolutely amazing. So it's all thanks to you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the book.
Thank you.
Love, Marry, Kill is book number 5. Actually, let's say we've already gone through it's novel number 5, the latest novel. And I'm just going to segue right into it because when you're trying to figure out what genre it is it romance? It's would you say suspenseful romance? Is there such a subcategory?
I call it genre non-binary.
Oh my gosh.
Or genre bending. I think it's more than that because, in a way it's, what is it? There is this genre they call realist fiction or whatever.
Yes.
So there is a level of that and then there is a level of romance and there's a touch of crime and so forth and so on.
And of course it ends in there's a cliff. I'm not going to say cliffhanger, but it definitely ends in a suspenseful way.
I think so too.
Yeah, because when we were first having a conversation, I was like, we don't have enough love stories in Africa. And when I say, and in fact, let me not say love stories. There are many love stories. Let me say we don't have enough romance novels. Where you're being wooed and there's swooning and there's great seductions. And I kind of feel that this particular novel has that a little bit.
I think you're problematic because it's such an unusual romance, Koi.
It is, but I think that's how I like romance. I like unusual romances, And that sounds like a Lady Gaga song. Oh, hers was bad romance. Okay, got it. Do the remix, girl. Unusual romance. Okay. So I was reading somewhere that it said that you started writing when you were 5.
That was my little joke because everybody asks, when did you start writing? And then you say, well, when I had to go to school, right? And the reason it's my little joke is the first time that, when my first novel came out, 19 years ago.
19. That's the Madams, right?
That's the Madams.
Yes.
I decided that I was gonna quit my day job, so that I could become a full-time writer. Not a very clever idea, particularly when you have a 1-year-old child. But I did it anyway. Anyway, so when I did that, I remember my mother said to me, "You saw my child, we all learned to write in 1st grade. Why can't you aspire to something better?"
Oh, yeah. Well, did you tell about like the J.K. Rowlings of the world who are billionaires from the writing?
No, that's
an African mother is like,
but there's
girl.
so few of those.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so she was absolutely utterly appalled. Like, why would you quit a day job?
Yeah.
But now she's like my biggest fan type of thing.
I love it. I think it's beautiful to be able to, just to see one work in publication is one, but to see work after work after work, across different genres, across different subjects, I think it's amazing. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
First African woman to win the Goethe Medal as well.
The less said about that, the better, right?
Okay.
Well,
first African woman to return the Goethe Model.
Well, there is that too.
Yeah. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I was given this medal, and it's a German state commendation for contribution to the arts and intercultural communication. And it's given to non-Germans. And it's a state commendation, so you get it, and it's signed by
the chancellor.
The biggest, I think it's like the foreign affairs, whatever, and this and that and that.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And and I got it in 2020, and then in 2024, in March, I returned it. Interestingly, here in Nairobi at the German embassy in Nairobi.
Okay.
And I returned it in protest to Germans' complicity in the genocide as the second biggest contributor of weapons to Israel.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's, writers are activists because literature is activism, whether we want to acknowledge that or not.
I don't think arts in all its forms, really.
Not art in all its forms, definitely. But, I mean, we've had some pretty specific and very pivotal and instrumental literature talking about, holding a mirror to society, so to speak. So for you to do that, that's very brave. Right? I mean, well, I consider it very brave because it's a massive commendation. And I know a lot of people would think, do you think there'll be backlash? Do you feel like you'll be sidelined by certain parts of, the literati community or whatever? So that wasn't a small, that was a big stance to make.
Maybe it was foolhardy because I still had school fees to pay.
Well, does it come with a monetary prize attachment?
No, it didn't come. Here's the thing. It didn't come with monetary prize, but what it came with is it came with a lot of gigs that you get on account of you having it. So then essentially giving it back is like really giving two middle fingers and saying, and so with that came job withdrawals.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, no, I'm sorry. Why would you do that? So why would you do that to us? Why are you being,
Yeah.
And and so, but it's been interesting because what happened is the Global South was Africa in particular, but the Global South kind of like in the short term, it was really hurtful and painful and like I was trying to figure out how am I going to pay this bill, how I'm going to pay school fees, this and that.
Yeah.
But in the midterm, which I think is now, I've had organizations in the Global South saying, hey, can you do this for us? Can you do that for us? So that essentially it's like, okay, I am good with my conscience,
Yeah.
and I think that I did the right thing.
Yes.
And would I do it all over again? Yes, I would, 1,000,000 times over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, stand. What's the saying? Stand for nothing, fall for everything, etc. I'm glad you stuck to your conviction, regardless of whatever happens.
Absolutely.
So we talked about 19 years in the game. It's going to be 20 years since The Madames was published, 2006.
2026, yes. In 2026 September.
It's going to be 20 years. So that's 20 years and all those books later. When you reflect on your journey as an author, what do you feel you're most proud of in those 20 years?
I think I'm most proud of the intercontinental connections that I've made and, the linking up with the diaspora, the African diaspora also. So the Brazils, the Martiniques, the Barbados, the, Jamaicans, etc., etc. I think that to me has, when I look back, the fact that I think I hope that I've, motivated a bunch of young people up and coming to just proudly tell their story and let it be known that, they don't need validation from the West. So they don't need to do that. Those tick box stories like, oh, okay, poverty, tick, whatever. Because even when there's poverty, people laugh. There is, it's not one dimensional, it's multidimensional. We still laugh. We cry at funerals, but we laugh at funerals as well, So I hope that, I have, motivated, but also like really stuck to the idea that if I'm going to be translated, into another language, maybe like into French or into Portuguese or into Arabic or, any other language, it's done on the basis of telling the African story. It has to resonate, which I think is the reason why that first child, the Madams, I was very excited that the first translation that was done of it was done by Angola and Mozambique into Portuguese because they could see themselves in it. They could understand the politics of place, of being.
I love that. I love it. Hashtag how to write about Africa, eh? Rest in peace, Binyavanga.
Yes, rest in peace, Binj.
Did you know him, Binyavanga?
Actually, I did.
Yeah.
In fact, when I first, the very first time I came to Nigeria, to Nairobi, the very first time I came to Nairobi, I actually stayed in Binj's place.
Nice.
And I came with my son. He was then like 3 years old.
Yeah.
And it was him. And so his family is like my family. I went to Nakuru, and I knew his late father, and stayed there. And, with the family, I know everybody, June, everybody in the family, essentially.
I love that.
So he was more than just a writer to me, more than he was a brother, and a family member in a way.
I love that. And that's a beautiful connection to know. Because you say you came to Kenya because you were born in Zimbabwe.
I was born in Zambia.
You born in Zambia?
I was born in Zambia, but my mom is Zimbabwean. And my dad is South African.
Okay.
Yeah.
So born in Zambia to a Zimbabwean and a South African.
Yes.
Raised...
partially in Zim.
Okay.
And then I did my tertiary in Hawaii.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then a couple of decades later, find yourself in Kenya. So what drew you here?
Okay, it's a good thing you said drew me, because when you say it brought you, I was just going to say a plane.
See, I knew.
But anyway, no, what happened is when I first came here, it was 2008. But I had when I was in tertiary, I actually like the largest group of Africans in Hawaii were Kenyans. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I knew Kenya already because, hey, listen, all the Kenyans I knew when I was in tertiary told me I knew all the ethnic stereotypes before I got here.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Not even the language. Oh, wow. Okay.
And everything else in between, you know, type of thing.
Yeah.
But I felt like I knew Kenya because I think Kenya and Zimbabwe are like 6 and 9 in a way. You know?
I agree. Yeah.
And so when I first came here, I just flowed, and then I thought to myself, because at that time my son was 3, and later on when he was starting first grade, I thought to myself, I didn't really want to, raise my son in South Africa, and not because there's anything wrong with South Africa, but I wanted him to have the kind of like Pan-African view that I'd been raised with, one. But secondly, at that point in time, President Jacob Zuma was in power in South Africa, and something seemed to have moved and shifted in the South African space. I used to be able to like walk at 2 a.m. and say, hey, you know what? I want a beer right now. I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to go and buy a beer at the corner, Shabin and whatever. But from the moment he came, it's almost like I would see a group of men and I'd have to, move to the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Something shifted. It was almost like there was this sense of like where you couldn't be just like an equal citizen as a woman, and I didn't want that. And I realized that when I was here, for all its own problematics in Kenya, there were certain things that I could wake up and I could go running in the morning, and I didn't need to have to ask for a man to come and run with me. I didn't need to make sure that I had a rock in my head or pepper spray in order to ensure that
you were safe.
That I was safe.
Yeah.
And that to me meant a lot. But importantly, I wanted my son to have another way of being, to see another way of being. So because he is South African anyway, he was always going to be South African, and that is not something that I can take away from him. But so that's always there. But to see another way of being, to see another way of living, to look beyond just the borders of a country that doesn't even have a name, the dignity of a name, but just a geographical location.
Hey, well. Yeah, that one down there. I feel you though. Because Love, Marry, Kill was written in, and I didn't say Nairobi. It was written in Kenya in Eldoret.
Yes, it was written in Eldoret. Yes.
Hey, and it was like was it a grant? Was it a fellowship? That you decided, I'm going to take a couple of months off, go to LD and, sit and write my book.
So I've been lucky enough that I got to know some academics and literary people right throughout the continent. Mm-hmm. And amongst them are academics at Moi University. And part of that is that when I first came here, and not when I first came here, but when I'd settled here, one of the things that I do is I do readings, and I'd go out of Nairobi. I was one of those people where I went to Kutch, I went to Eldoret, I went to Kisumu, I went to Homa Bay. Mm-hmm. I've been like in different places in the country. Yeah. But I always think that the way to know a country is to travel it. 100%. But I've even done a reading in Embu.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So in so doing, I got to know all these people. Yeah. And then I said to them, I remember talking to one of the deans, and they said to me, when are you coming to Eldoret? And I said, listen, I really just need when is your next novel coming out? They actually asked. Because I think they'd been using my last novel, London, Cape Town, Joburg. Yes. And I said, you know what? I actually have quite a whole lot of stories, but I just need time. And I've been busy, and I have to keep being busy because I need to be able to pay bills. Mm-hmm. And they said, no, actually, we've got a fellowship. So if you can come through, we will give you a little something. You can pay your own accommodation and pay a few of your bills, and then you'll be able to sit and write and not worry about paying bills, which is fantastic. And so the moment they asked, I filled out the paperwork, and I went to Eldoret, and within 2 weeks, I had completed a first draft of this baby.
Wow. You wrote the first draft in 2 weeks?
The very, very first draft, yes.
Ah, okay.
But please note that I also do, before a book is published, I also do 5 drafts. So there is that. Okay. So I did the two, it must have been, well, maybe most, it was 3 weeks. Okay. But I did the first draft, and then I sent it to a bunch of my beta readers while I was then in... I'd gone to Ake Festival in Nigeria, and then from there I went to Abuja, because I'd actually never been to Abuja. So my mates in Nigeria were like, "Oh, you need to come into a reading in Abuja." So I went. I went to Spine and Labels, which is a lovely bookstore in Abuja. I did a reading there, and I said to them, "Oh, I've got a little something for you." So I read them the very first something from Love, Marry, Kill. Yeah. And when I read it to them, then of course, once you read something to people in public, then you're forced to.
You've committed.
Yeah. So I was forced to have to publish it. But what was beautiful was there, Othuke Omniobus was there, and he then immediately was like, Zooks, send me the full manuscript. And that's the green cover that you see there. That's Masobe Books by that's the West African publisher.
Nice. Yeah. I love that. That's a good story. So you've written about everywhere except your adopted home, Kenya. Are we going to get a novel set in Kenya?
No, I actually have a really beautiful short story that I wrote.
Okay.
Back in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
And it's called To Kill a Politician.
Oof. So maybe not.
No. It's actually a great story. But it's set at, remember the good old days when Kenya National Theatre. Yeah. When it was like the hub before it got bourgeoified. Yeah. So I set it there. Yeah. I set it there, and it made sense to me. Mm-hmm. And the story takes place over an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes place over an hour, and it's a writer who stays in Kile, and his best friend, and he started at UON, which of course is right next to Kenya next.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he's got a friend who's an activist, who was an activist but has become an MP, and he of course is a writer, and they grew up together in Kile, and they were like all this militant anti-Moi type, But now the MP has become, he started selling parcels of land in the neighborhood. So the writer no longer has water in Kileleshwa because all these apartments are coming up.
Yep.
But he's still staying at the family home.
Yeah.
And so he has to go to the Y every time.
He wants to take a shower or whatever.
So that he can take a shower.
Wow.
But another guise of going to swim. But every morning he wakes up and whatever. And he claims, that he can't write because there's no drip of the coffee machine because there's no water. Because all the water, everywhere he goes, he has to take jerry cans and, whatever, and fill up. And so, but him and the politician, they have this love-hate relationship. Also because the politician took his girlfriend, who's now the wife.
For this 1 hour, there's a lot of backstory, eh? Okay.
Not really, but so they decide. But they have this thing that they do when they're both in town, because he's a big writer. He's celebrated everywhere, and he's been given this large advance, And they're supposed to meet every time. When they're both in town, they meet every time at midnight at Kenya National Theatre, at the restaurant upstairs. And so this one time, he just is so tired, and he's like, no, you know what? I'm unable to write. Everything is not going well, so I'm going to kill this guy.
Wow. Okay, then.
Yeah. So he orders 2 Tuskers, and he goes to the bathroom, and he puts poison in one.
Yeah.
But he knows which one it is because he can see the powder. Unfortunately, the politician follows a little later after he's already put. And of course...
It's like residue or...
No, there isn't. It's just it's like moisture and stuff. But the politician is very fastidious.
Okay.
He's very fastidious. So he wipes the whatever, and then he says, dude, I'm glad that you finally bought the beer for the first time because you're always waiting. So, of course, and he holds both beers, and now this guy doesn't know which one.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
And I bet you that's how the story ends.
No, the story ends actually because it starts at midnight.
Yeah.
And it ends at 1. And at 1, then he because he's just like, well, what am I going to do? He does Russian roulette, and he drinks, and he hopes this is the one that there's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
And of course it turns out he has drunk the poison chalice, you see. So then as he's like, the politician assumes, the MP assumes that he has committed suicide. What he doesn't realize, and of course, he then says, and then he's looking at this guy and he's like, no, man, it was you who were supposed to die. And at that time, the bells of Consolata ring. And it's 1
midnight.
a.m.
Oh, it's 1 a.m. now.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay.
Yeah.
So where can we find said short story? Interesting.
I think it's online, but I think there was also an anthology that we called 24 in South Africa, and we had 24 writers, and we had a writer for each hour, and it was...
Oh, like the TV show.
Before the TV show.
Oh, before the TV show.
Yeah, this was 2000.
So Kiefer Sutherland ripped you guys off, basically.
Yeah, this was 2008.
Okay, wow.
And it was... Each writer had an hour.
Yeah.
And in a different city. And really, what we did with the book is, it was... After the atrocious Afrophobic attacks, and it was to raise money for the women and children and men who had been displaced and had been put in camps because of the attacks. So that was the benefits of that book. Yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful concept, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
So can we find? So we look for 24.
Yes.
That's the anthology.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll get the correct title. I know it's on my bookshelf here in Nairobi.
Okay.
So I'll send you a photo. I'll get the title.
We'll get the details.
Yes.
Well, you've talked about poison, and I'm like, Zukiswa, there's a recurring theme in your books about people trying to kill people with poison. Yes? Yes?
Well, no.
Yes?
Maybe 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3.
One is a short story. One is a book.
Actually, let me open up my questions for Love, Marry, Kill, because yes, there is poison and somebody dies. Won't tell you who.
But does somebody die though?
What? What do you mean does somebody die though?
No, I'm asking.
There's a text that says, you killed my son.
No, it doesn't say that. Let me show you.
Sorry, I'm going to disrupt the set and pick the book. Yeah. Show me. Because I'm like, what are you talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
What you're going Right. My phone went off. A text came in.
Yeah.
We know you South African women are sluts, but killers too. It doesn't mean somebody is dead.
Well, if you tell me...
It's possible that somebody has claimed that somebody, whatever. How do you know that they died?
Because also, I mean, okay, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
But when you said killers, in my head, I was like, oh.
No, but
I know what he did.
No, but you see, this is the thing, though.
This book. Listen, to understand what it is, we're gonna like walk it back and start properly on Love, Marry, Kill. Oh my God. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I'm gonna put a pin on that. On the cover for this particular edition, there's a quote, and when I read it, I was like, huh. And then when I read it in the book, I was like, huh. Right? Because it says, I opened my eyes wide and nothing happened. No stars fall from the sky. There's no basketball dunking. I mean, nada, nicht, ka, hapana. Like, it's even in Swa. Like, knowing all the languages. And you're like, huh, what is this? And then now when you get to the scene, you're like, okay, I get it. But I think it was, why did you decide to put this particular quote on the book cover?
Well, I did think that like it was an interesting full quote. But I also do think that like for a lot of women it's quite relatable, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really it's unfortunate, but it is true. Especially the initial experience.
Yeah.
For lack of a more appropriate word. But Love, Marry, Kill. Like I said, it was an easy read for me. I think 2 days and I was done. And it's the kind of book that when you start reading, you don't put down, in all honesty. And I say that with no exaggeration. You want to keep finding out what's going to happen. And there are characters in this book that you want to punch, like right here, like in the break something.
Yeah.
And there are characters you're like, ugh, I'm rooting for you, but you are stupid.
Why?
You are dumb. And there are characters that you're just like, if I had you in my life, one of us would be in jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very character driven. I'll say that. Like we have the main characters. We have 2 couples. And when you hear 2 couples, your mind goes to a certain place. But as the book unfolds, you realize it's really, something very different. Because the book opens one couple plotting the murder or the assassination of another couple. And then now, as it unfolds, we get to figure out who's the other person, who are the other players, and what's happening to them. It is such an interesting book. And the suspense is right there till the very end. But in the beginning, the book is set in, this is 90s South Africa, isn't it? And yes. I do remember asking previously, why that particular setting? What is it that drew you to 90s Johannesburg, so to speak, that you want to, base this book at that point?
I think the main reason, obviously, was because of the historical space, of it.
Yeah.
And it's set very well, I think, that the 2 main characters that we have in the book, how they look at life
as
they grow because they essentially, obviously, grow with a story.
Correct.
And it sets who they think and what they believe, and what they realize they believed, and then realize it's not as true as they thought. So for instance, there's the belief of okay, we've got Black economic empowerment now, which is South Africa's version of affirmative action. And we're going to, now we can take over, except the biggest beneficiaries in South Africa of Black economic empowerment have been white women, So there's like, well, yeah, sure. But what experience you have? So when somebody quits their job thinking, oh, okay, because I'm a Black person, I've got this expertise, they'll come and they say, we want somebody with 35 years experience, which is kind of odd because the country has been free for 30 years.
Yes. So the goalposts are forever shifting.
Yes.
And you find yourself never being enough at any one point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was a very pivotal point. I remember at this point, for us across the continent, Nelson Mandela is, a hero, untouchable, the elder. But in this
and then
book,
I touch him.
He's touched. And you're just like, I remember reading it and I'm like, ooh.
Why are you like this?
They have statues of this man. What are you talking about? But it's, I think it was a very interesting take because especially as a non-South African reading it, and it makes me wonder and made me want to dig a little deeper. What exactly were the sentiments of South Africans at that time? Yes, he's your freedom fighter, and he was at the front line of the race, but there are people who view him in a different lens.
Absolutely.
And the same can be said for Kenya as well.
No, I know.
In fact, all of Africa.
All of Africa. So for instance, as I was saying to you on that day, in South Africa, there are people who swear by Jomo Kenyatta. Like they're like, yeah, my God. Oh, you're from Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta.
Pan-Africa.
Yes. Etc. And then you're like, okay. So there is certain things that, you have the inside scoop of.
Correct.
When you know certain things that other people might not know, and then you're like, yeah.
And another thing that this book explored, I really did enjoy it. In fact, just thinking about it, I'm like, there's a lot that still sits with me, even was it a month or two? Actually, 2 months after I read this. The mother-daughter relationship.
Yes.
In fact, I'll say mother-daughter and I'll also say mother-child, because even the mother-son relationships there are just problematic as well,
And father-son.
And father-son. Like that parental-child relationship, it's so layered and so different. But particularly when you look at the mother-daughter and the expectation of our main character, the expectations she has about what marriage is. And she keeps saying that nobody taught me.
Nobody told me.
They didn't tell me these things.
Yeah.
My aunties, my mother, they just let me walk into marriage oblivious, unknowing. I could have benefited from some knowledge. Okay, fine. In hindsight, you could say, there are only certain things people you have to experience for yourself. And maybe at that point, when she was in love with first boyfriend, who becomes husband, who becomes father of my children, who becomes love rat, and you can tell just by her nicknames how people are, that relationship is going down.
She is savage, isn't she?
She is savage, but also I think she's realistic. And at some point, having conformed for so long, she sits there and she's like, I am going to grab happiness for myself. Unfortunately, it's at quite a cost to others. But she was like, I'm done. And it's rare. It's very rare in Africa to see a woman who is unapologetically at whatever space in her life saying, I'm now grabbing this happiness for myself. So Dear Owami, who's the main girl in this book, is definitely, she goes from naive to petulant to enraged to, you can see her maturity throughout the book, and finally to being like, this is it. This is my life. I don't care. So when you are developing her as a character, one is she's shaped after anybody. And two, the particular development, because I know it was deliberate, because you have to, we're seeing the story through her growth. This is her story essentially, and the different phases of her life. But why was it important to write her story the way it was written? Let me ask that,
I think because of how she ends up.
Okay.
it's something that I think continentally, I think worldwide actually, there's a lot of moral judgment that will be passed on their actions.
Absolutely.
And so I wanted to say, how would we have somebody, you know?
Yeah.
What could lead somebody to do that?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
What are the journeys? What is, you know, and I realized something in that, you know, in conversation with a lot of women, I realized, you know, like in the 20s, a lot of women care about what everybody thinks, about what their friends think even, and you know, sometimes those friends are not even really their friends; they're frenemies, but they care for the what you call it,
opinions
of people. So there's that whole I need to get married before I'm 30. You know, there's this all this pressure that women put on themselves.
Yeah,
and then in their 30s, I observed that a lot of women that I knew who got married in their 20s, like early 20s. By their 30s, they were getting divorced because they're like, when they started, maybe they were going, when they first got married, they were buying groceries for their in-laws every 2 weeks.
Like this, Oami does. Yep.
Sending M-Pesa.
Yep.
To mother-in-law every week, you know, whatever. And really like trying to look like a good daughter-in-law. But, you know, but then she realizes that in the 30s, women then realize that these people are not my relatives, by the way. And part of that is because when something happens to a woman, then they realize, maybe these guys are not showing up for me like I've shown up for them.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe,
you know, and Owami, that's what happens to her in her 30s. I've got somebody that I knew where the in-laws would hide all the food before she came through because she was the eldest daughter-in-law. So then she has to make sure that people have eaten. So she has to come with everything from salt to cooking oil to, you know, dishwasher and so forth and so on, and meat and bread and whatever, because as the eldest daughter-in-law, because I think the mother-in-law had died, so she's the eldest daughter-in-law. She had to make sure that everybody gathered there.
At her expense.
At her expense.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, then she's like, no, this is not going to be it. So I think this is, with some women in the 30s, they'll get divorced if they got married in the 20s. With other women, you know, they'll stay in, but maybe they're no longer doing that or turning up every weekend and cooking and whatever and stuff like that. They just stop, and then in their 40s, and it's very interesting because, you know, I've talked to women like in their 50s and in their 60s, and with every generation, with every decade, it almost seems like women don't care about societal expectations of them anymore. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
I told you the story about the older woman.
Yes. You did.
Yeah.
You want to repeat it?
All right. So essentially, this older woman is in her 60s, politician, had a younger man who, you know, she was having a thing with. And then he records her, you know, during...
In flagrante.
Yes. You know, he records her while they're having phone sex or whatever. He records, and then later on he wants X amount of money from her. Yeah. And she says, I ain't giving you nothing. And he says, well, you know, I'm going to expose. Yeah. I'm going to leak this. And she says, I don't care, you know.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah, knock yourself out. So he leaks it, and she calls, obviously, she goes and reports it, and he gets arrested. You know. So next thing, she goes for a meeting, and there's a whole bunch of people, and of course everybody in the meeting is talking about how, oh my God, minister, did you see that? And the moment she walks in, everybody keeps quiet, because the way you do when you've been talking about somebody. And she says, good morning. How? Why are you all quiet? None of you ever seen a naked woman before? And that just breaks the ice.
And it's
the
done.
End of that story.
Because she knew that's what they were
Exactly.
talking about. It's I guess the beauty of age is do your worst, you know? Yeah. I've been there, done that, and there's definitely a maturity that comes.
Yeah, I think this is why they call old women witches, you know? Because they don't care anymore.
Polite society is not your thing anymore. This book has a lot of characters and situations that are actually based on real life characters and situations, like Uncle Pedo. Owami has a nickname for everybody, by the way. The lady in this, the main character, she has a nickname for everyone. And Uncle Pedo is the guy that everyone warns you about, you know? Don't go to his house, you know, something's gonna happen. But the way the story is told, and I thought this was such an African experience, is that you know that guy, he does bad things to small girls. Don't go to his house.
Yes.
So nobody ever holds Uncle Pedo to
responsible,
account.
exactly.
Yeah, nobody takes him forward, but now the burden of behavior is now on the children to make sure they don't go to Uncle. And if
Why
you
did you go there? What were you wearing?
Yes, and it's so. I read that and I'm like, how many cases have we heard about that? In fact, the other day there was a presidential pardon, and one of the pardonees was a guy when he was 14 years ago. He was 64 years ago. He was 64 14 years ago. Now he's 78, I guess. And he defiled a 4-year-old girl. And he was put, in prison. Obviously, but he receives a pardon, I guess maybe because he's old or whatever. But now the picture that was doing the rounds on socials, is that he's been received by his village like a hero. You know those shiny things we put on you for graduation?
When you graduate, yes. The Christmas decorations that are also graduation.
He received a hero's welcome.
Oh, that's horrible.
Somebody who defiled a 4-year-old girl. And you think about that and you're like, are you kidding me? And it's a very Uncle Pedo situation.
Exactly, very much
because
so.
why would you not punish? This is somebody who was meant to die in prison, you know? But yet here we are. So there's another situation in the book that's real life. Which one was it? I forget. Another character.
Was it the ones where the women go and beat up the other woman?
Yes, I think that happens every time. I mean, which is really unfortunate because what has this? And I love that we'll be like, she's the one who seduced my man. She stole him. Like she put him in a bag and ran away.
Like is he learned to be stolen?
Oh my God!
Is he a pen or a television?
You don't even know what to say about that. There is, which one is it? I'm gonna remember. But there is a real life situation that we were talking about that. Was it the rugby player and his girlfriend? That's a similar situation.
Which one? No, wasn't it the mother, Akani's mom?
Akani's mom. Akani's mom.
Yeah.
Who gets tired of being beaten every day. And she cowers every time. And then one day, Akani's father has the audacity
to beat her in the face.
On her face. And she's like, I could hide my shame and I could deal with it. But now you want everybody to know what you do to me. And now she beats him. And it completely flips the script. And it changes everything for that family. Oh my goodness. So Akani is Owami's intendant. I guess beloved. He is not first boyfriend who becomes husband, who becomes father of my children, who becomes love rat. He is the lover. And it is, oh my goodness. Anyway, I think just read the book. It's so fun. It's honestly so fun so that we can discuss it, so I can have somebody else to discuss this book with. But what I do love is that all the characters are memorable, whether it's the despicable ones, the deplorable ones, the morally upstanding ones, the ones you judge but you empathize with. There's a lot of relatability. And I think this is the kind of book which potentially should be turned into maybe a TV series, maybe a movie. Ever thought about that?
You tell me. You got friends in television, Corey.
I honestly think it's very adaptable. You know what I mean? Because the story is, it starts with a couple hiring a hitman to kill another couple. I mean, already, that's TV.
My favorite character, by the way.
Oh, the hitman?
Yeah.
The assassin? Interesting. You're going to end up liking the assassin, which tells you how twisted this book is, honestly. I mean, there's nothing else to say. But it's, now that we talked about breaking down all the characters, this title was very deliberate as well. Love, marry, kill, right? So why love, why marry, why kill? Before you tell us who you want to love, who you want to marry, and who you want to kill.
Well, I think because that's essentially what really happens. except,
Yeah.
it doesn't quite happen in that order.
Yeah.
Or it does happen. Well, they think it does
First
happen.
comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the baby in a baby carriage.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's be killing, but we hope that it's not. It's never in the vows,
Exactly.
So,
but yeah, I mean that's essentially what happens. But with this one, it's more marry than love than kill, right?
So it's obligation.
Yeah.
Marriage.
Well, but I mean the obligation. First, it comes. They think it's love.
Yeah.
And then they find. So it's possible to love, I suppose, more than once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just seemed very apt. It seemed like this was the particular title, and I thought it was quite catchy with the game that
Yeah, Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Yeah.
I think it's very apt because this it's Africa likes good girls. Africa likes well-behaved women. You know what I mean? The ones who do love, marry, and end up happily or unhappily ever after. It doesn't matter, but you stay married.
Yeah.
And you persevere. The same way Owami's mom was saying, you know what I mean?
What type of woman are you?
What is it? So he cheats on you, are you the first person to be cheated on? Like, get over yourself. Or when she's like, he may want to kill me. Even when she goes to her mother and says, I think he's trying to kill me.
Yeah.
She's like, she actually tells the man who she suspects is trying to kill her of where her own child is.
Yeah.
I was like, what is wrong with this woman?
What's wrong with you? But is it not true though that there's some mothers who always take the side of their in-law, their sons-in-law?
Yes, because you're supposed to be a well-behaved woman. Don't bring shame to society. God forbid you speak out against a bad thing that he has done. Yeah. It's okay. You're not the first. You won't be the last. And I shudder when I think, obviously marriage is very serious. It's not something you just exit because, it's on a whim. But if you come and tell me, my husband is trying to kill me, there's no discussion there. First, I remove you, my child, from that situation. Then now we figure out what to do. I'm not just like go home or tell him, come find your errant wife, God.
Come take your wife.
Owami, Mrs. Ambassador, is a lunatic.
No.
That's Owami's mom, Mrs. Ambassador. She's a crazy person.
Your other realistic situation is the cops. Because they're the same, aren't they?
The cops are the same, and it's...
all over this continent. You go and you report to staff, and they're like, hey, are you dead? So what's the problem?
What is the big deal? Go fix your marriage.
Hey, what do you mean somebody wants to kill you?
In Kenya, it gets even worse because even when the men report, now you're just laughed at. What do you mean a woman beat you? Are you a man?
What type of men are you?
Exactly. And I'm like, do we have space for empathy? Do we have space for healing? It's crazy. But yeah, so this book is maybe set primarily in South Africa and a little bit in Zimbabwe as well. But it's a very relatably African book. And I just wish that these were not our situations, but that's what they are. And we can relate to that. So, who are you loving? Who in this book, who are you loving? Who you marrying? Who you killing?
Still loving Akani.
Yes.
Definitely marrying his mom.
Yes.
Killing estranged husband.
Estranged husband?
I'm not sure between estranged husband or Tumelo, to be honest. Maybe estranged husband. Both. Can I do two killings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they both deserve to die, honestly.
Kill both of them.
For me, still loving Owami's best friend. Forget her name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, her best friend.
Tinashe.
Yes, Tinashe. Like the artist. That's how you know they're really Zimbabwean. And I love her because she turned a very unfortunate situation in her life into something, she didn't let it, pull her back or keep her back. She's like, I'm still living my life. And she's still there for her friend, even if she lives in a whole other country. And I love that because I have fantastic friends in my life. And when I was reading her as a character, I was like, I also hope I'm this kind of friend, who you do this, I need you, and they turn up. because I have those in my life and it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Marrying their mutual best friend. Again, why do I forget his name? Yes. Yes. That's a man you marry.
Yeah.
And you can tell that's the man you marry because his wife is so comfortable. She's their relationship is so easy.
Yeah.
They're like, it's aight. Because he's like, oh, he's not worried what my wife think. Let me hide this. Let me do that. Nah, he's cool. He's a nice guy. And I at some point in the book, I was like, why didn't we develop this guy more? Why didn't we see more of him? I was like,
You see, my friend Duduzo thinks Duduzo deserves his own book. I'm like, yeah, please.
No. Again, even well-behaved men seldom make history. Yes. But that's the guy you marry. Kill Mrs. Ambassador, shoot dead. Bye-bye. Yup. And estranged husband, the love rat. Tumelo, I wouldn't kill her.
Okay.
I feel like Tumelo, it's the bitterness of rejection.
She's a victim of
her own circumstances as well, because you can't pivot.
Expectations. Yeah.
But I think she can't get over the bitterness. But also, she was dealt a bad hand. She got married to a guy she thought it was gonna be forever, and it turns out, hey,
she got married to a guy who looked at her because she looked at somebody else. She looked like somebody else.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? I married you because you remind me of my ex. And then you're just a placeholder because my true love is just around the corner. And when I find her, I will burn everything down because it doesn't matter. Oh my God. Hey, when you say that great love, you never think it's a forbidden love, You never think it's a love that makes people kill each other. But here we go. Anyway, fantastic book. You did a great job with this one.
Thank you so
much. And it made me want to
it.
go back and read the entire Zukiswa Wanner backlist. I want to go because I think the only one I've read is London, Joburg, Cape Town, and that was years ago.
And that's dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
This was happier.
This is happy. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It was a good palate cleanser. But at the same time, as much as it's happier, it also explores some deep, dark themes as well. Stuff. Yeah. So this pink is deceptively bright. Because, a lot of stuff is talked about. Okay, I think the fan can go off because, my God, I'm eating my hair. Thank you. Oh, man, people who break the fourth wall. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. So as we wind up, what is next on your writing adventure? Because I know you're launching the Portuguese version of The Madams, isn't it?
Yes, and that.
And this as well.
Yes.
This is also the
They've
Portuguese.
already done it in translation.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about that. I'm going to be in Brazil.
Yes.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Yay.
I love that. That's going to be really fantastic.
In Sao and in Rio.
When you say Sao, it looks like you go there often. So you mean Sao Paulo. We don't even, we can't be on a first name basis like that. We had never been.
You're not even giving it its surname.
I'm like, no. Sao Paulo, sir. Yeah. I think that's really exciting. That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, that should.
Okay. And do you have another, if you wrote this in 2 weeks, do you have another 2 weeks tucked away somewhere to do another first draft?
I think the other one that I actually parked so that I could do this, it's a heavier subject because it's a historical novel.
Okay.
So it's heavy. And it spans 1900 to 1990.
Okay. It's a lot.
And
set in?
Initially, I was going to set it, funny enough, in Eldoret.
Hiya. Okay. And then? You chose Kakamega?
The muse took it elsewhere.
Okay.
But I'd set it. I'd initially set it in Eldoret because there's a place called Cap Kruger, and it's I researched because I wanted to know why an Afrikaans name existed in Eldoret in Western Kenya, and it turned out there's a bunch of Afrikaners who came to Kenya after the Anglo-Boer War. And it's a fascinating history.
What's the name of the place again?
It's called Cap Kruger. The main Matatu stop in Eldoret is called Cap Kruger.
I did not know that.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do some research as well.
See, I'm teaching you.
You are teaching me about my own country. Okay. All right. Well, regardless, we look forward to that historical fiction whenever it comes through. And of course, as you celebrate 20 years of authorship and seeing all your babies in different translations. Portuguese, what other language have you been translated into?
French, Arabic. Yeah. And Portuguese, French, Arabic. And and Shona.
Okay.
Yeah. But that wasn't that was for something shorter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. That's how you know your work is global, when it's being, redone in global languages. All right. So before you leave, please read for us an excerpt from Love, Marry, Kill, whatever, a little something.
Let me start.
But then she does this because she can remember everything in the book. I thought that was like witchcraft. Like, remember all the passages and the pages. Yo. Those are superpowers.
Not quite. All right. Yeah. At that time, she'd been in Soweto. He couldn't believe it. With Huma. I was staying with my lover. Then she said wistfully, "You, Rendani, he made me so happy, He'd been so shocked he put his hands on his head. Who was this woman? This was not his ma who had been married to his father for 45 years, was it? She reminded him how his father, their father, her husband, used to beat her. He nodded, remembering how he too had almost become his father years ago. How did you meet this Rendani? His shock was surpassed by his curiosity. I'd met him before. He stayed in Shawela near my father's sister. He was a headmaster at one of the schools in Soweto, and he told me he was a widower and his children were staying in Venda with his parents. You just packed up and left us to go to him. Many years later, the child in him was still feeling abandoned. I left to go to my aunt. Every time your father used to beat me, he would beat the thighs, the stomach, anywhere else that would be covered in dresses. But the night before I left, that man bit me on the face. It said to me, even though he had not respected me, now he did not even respect what outsiders thought of how he treated me. That's why I beat him back, if you remember. Now she was smiling. Or he remembered all right. He wanted to laugh, but he kept his mouth closed and chuckled inside. When you all left, I packed and went to Soweto. As for your left us to go to him. You are a parent now, Akani. Sometimes a parent's actions are not always about you. Even your mother is a human being who deserves to be happy. He put his hands up, leaned over and kissed her. As kissed Ma. Get away, she said, swatting him. And then she continued with her story. When she had arrived at her aunt's and recounted what had happened, her aunt cried with her. With her husband still at work, her aunt asked one of the children to ask the headmaster who stayed down the road from her and had just arrived home for lunch to take her niece to Bara, where she had received a few stitches to the cut on her eye, and that was where it began. The headmaster would come to check on her and bring her small treats every now and again. A chocolate here, some fish and chips there, a perfume. Then he had asked her to move in with him. But I'm married, she had protested. And so, am I asking your husband to move in with me, or am I asking you?
Well.
And on that note.
I love it. I love it. It's Akani having the conversation with his mother.
With his mother.
And finding out that, my mother had a whole other life, a whole other boyfriend, so to speak. Uh-huh. And it was very Seasons of Crimson Blossom-esque.
Yeah!
Which features in this book.
I forgot to bring you that book.
I have it.
No, not Season.
Yes.
October. When were Fireflies? When I return.
When you return.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love it. Okay. Thank you, Zukiswa.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for
Always a
having
pleasure.
me.
Thank you for coming through to Nairobi Book Love. Please buy Love, Marry, Kill by Zukiswa Wanner. Where it is you buy books. I think this is what we have in East Africa. This is the East African
that's
cover.
the East African version.
Yes.
And it's available at Prestige. It's available at Somanamiwe. It's available at Cheche Books. It's available at Nuria. Yeah.
Everywhere you buy books, you're going to find it. And it's a fantastic story. So buy and enjoy.